Good afternoon, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks MLB Update. How's everybody doing today? Welcome, everybody watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all the groups that allow us to share later on. You see scrolling at the bottom of the screen always some of our favorites. There's hundreds of them out there to let us share. That's how we get all of those views outside of who's here in the room, and we welcome you as well. Thanks to John Gonzalez at the Sports Authority, Greg Rawlings at America's Pastime, the Love of Baseball. Who else? Flo and the gang over at Bottom Line Sports. Let's Talk Sports. Ken Krause at Golf Bud Sports of All Sorts. Many more. Quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Check out Ralph's stuff, especially the Sports Corner with Smoke and Jim Frazier every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Check out this morning's Jack and Keith Weekend Playbook. We got a little spirited talking some baseball this morning. I might get a little spirited today. I don't know. We'll see. A lot of exciting series. Listen, since we went to this format, the team that wins the first game had won every single series except the Yankees and Red Sox this year. It's 15-1 now. And the Yankees, they win despite, Aaron Boone's best efforts to sabotage that in game one. Can't sit your best two players. I'm going to try not to be too hard on Aaron Boone because the Yankees did win this series with only 2 home runs. And I've told you all year that they have to find ways to win games without hitting home runs. And they did it in the series. We'll see if it can continue. Cam Schlittler with a game for the ages last night. In fact, I might have put him out in the 10th inning, quite frankly, because Bednar had pitched 3 games. That was his 3rd night in a row. Never trust this Yankee bullpen, as we saw in game 1. They can be very good or very bad. But I'm okay with what they did. I'm okay. We survived the game 1 faux pas of putting probably in my mind, your 2nd and 3rd best players on the bench. But we survive it. Let's move on and beat the Blue Jays. Exciting series in Detroit. Cleveland was hot, but they can't score runs. Tigers were pitching like bullpen games. Well, Flaherty pitched quite a while deeper into the game yesterday, but I don't know what A.J. Hinch was thinking in game 2 when he's pulling Mize out 60 pitches into the 3rd inning in a 1-1 game. Makes no sense. San Diego blows it to the Cubs yesterday. They're going to complain about the umpiring, and I don't blame them. The umpiring is bad. We're going to get the ABS system next year, whether I like it or not. I know a lot of you love it, the idea. Take the human element out. And I don't have an argument against it because these umpires are horrible. But San Diego, before you chase the umpires off the field like you did last night, berating them, maybe you shouldn't go 3 for 36 with runners in scoring position. Just a thought. And the Dodgers sweep the Reds. Not a whole lot to say there. We got some fun series coming up, I think, this starting tomorrow and into Sunday. So we'll see how it goes. Good morning or good afternoon, Rick Sherlock. Good to have you with us. Carlos, the Mad New Yorker. The umpires have been terrible. Listen, I want better umpiring. Don't get me wrong. I just don't want machines doing it. I just don't. But though, as bad as they've been, I don't have an argument. I mean, that ball last night to Bogarts was terrible call. And again, they were bad that whole series, particular. And again, we don't know what would have happened, but you gotta swing the bat, and you can't go 3 for 36. And Stanton, by the way, he gets away with this. Stanton can't be looking at the dugout, mugging to the dugout when he thinks he's hit a home run. How about running? It's doubtful he would have got a triple because it's Stanton. I run faster than Giancarlo Stanton at this point. But he could have got hurt running to second base. He could have got thrown out going to second base. And just an inning or so later, you had the anti-Stanton with Bellinger getting to second on a pop-up that dropped in between the infield and the outfielders. That's how you play baseball. But I have to tell you, I mean, I haven't seen a rookie in a long time. Guidry maybe in 77, but I haven't seen a rookie. And Guidry wasn't technically a rookie at that point, but he was a kid. Had the type of moxie and the swagger that Cam Schlittler had last night. He was, I'm telling you, this kid's got it. Whatever it is, Cam has it. In spades. Oh, some fun series coming up. We'll talk about the series coming up. We'll talk about the ones that have just finished. We can talk about managers. 9 managerial positions are open right now. When we look at the 4 that were changed during the season, and 5 that have come open since. 2 of them, we talked about 2 of them. I had a sense, I was smelling it that Bochy and the Braves manager, what's his name? Schnittner, wouldn't be back. Little surprised that the Angels fired Ron Washington. Good for him. I'm glad he's out of that mess. I'm a little surprised at that move. Not surprised at all that the Giants fired Melvin. Certainly not surprised that the Twins fired Baldelli. And I'm a little surprised that Carlos Marmol still has a job. Padres did not come through, and that's what it is. Exactly. You know, you can't chase the umpires off the field berating them for, again, a handful of calls. It's still not like they were 50% off. But you can't berate them if you're going to go 3 for 36 with runners in scoring position. Cubs. I like the Cubs. I like the Cubs in this next series too, quite frankly. Very interesting matchup with the Brewers and the Cubs. Counsell going back to manage against his former team. Pat Murphy, who was his bench coach, if I'm not mistaken, quite frankly, could win back-to-back Manager of the Year awards. Going to be an interesting series. And I do like the Cubs. If Kyle Tucker plays well and the pitching pitches well, if they play like they played against San Diego, they'll win. Cubs are just a better team. Say what you want about the umpiring. They're a better team. Stan's base running is always bad, too, Carlos. You can't he's done this many times. I understand he can't run. He runs at, 3/4 speed at best to keep from getting injured. All right, I get that. This wasn't that. I mean, he saw what happened. If you go back and look at the footage, he's mugging to the dugout like he's got a home run. Could have cost the Yankees a run. The hilarious part is once he's at second base and pushing himself full speed to get to second base, he might get hurt. That's laughable in itself, right? Just the fact I have to say that. Laughable. But then the announcers, I'm listening to the announcers, and I can't remember who was doing the Yankee game last night, quite frankly. We're talking about how the Yankees have stolen more third base more than anybody else in the league. Well, Stan wasn't going to run. He kept Ahmed Rosario moving forward. Good thing those bats came through. Listen, Rosario's good against left-handed pitchers, but he's not playing at third base. I'm okay with Caballero coming off the bench, having pinch run late in the games. Rosario can't be in there for Jazz in game 1. He just can't be. Jazz has got to be playing in that game. And so does Rice. I don't care where. I don't care if he catches. He can't be on the bench. And Jazz got a shot in the 9th inning, but with the game still on the line. But I'm sorry, that's a faux pas by Boone that he gets away with. Because the small sample size we have says you lose game 1, you lose these series. Yankees beat those odds. Tyon is what? I don't know what that is. Caliente. Oh, Caliente. He hasn't pitched horribly for the Cubs. Hello, Michael Dighton Edwards. Good to have you with us. And you're always welcome. Rockies team lost their GM. What a blessing for them and their team. Two of the guys that are probably the luckiest guys in baseball today. Bud Black, not today, but Bud Black when he got fired. Lucky, he should be thankful he got out of that mess. And Ron Washington, too. Ron Washington and Bud Black, both lifers in baseball, good baseball men, deserve much better than what they got in Colorado and Anaheim, Los Angeles, whatever they are today, Angels. I think it's classless of the Angels to fire Ron Washington. You know, he had open heart surgery, quadruple bypass, I think, when he stepped away from the team in July. I get it. I mean, the Brad Schnitker, Bruce Bochy decisions, they were pretty much mutual decisions. Not surprised at either one. I thought there was a question whether Schnitker would come back this year even, but back he came. It's going to be interesting. It looks like Texas is zeroing in on Skip Schumacher to be their next manager, and the Braves are talking. It sounds like, or at least David Ross makes it sound like they're serious about David Ross being the next manager there, who got kind of a bums rush himself in Chicago when they made Craig Counsell the highest paid manager in history, when they had one already under contract who hadn't done that badly. I did need Jack was tough this morning. The funniest part, Rick, I love Jack to death. If you're there, Jack, I love you to death. You know I do. But man, I could have muted him. I do have that ability to mute him. I find it kind of rude. If he gets out of control again, I might have to. But I'll just wait to get my words in. But, you know, if you notice, Jack makes my own arguments for me. He says there is no momentum. And then he says the Tigers have probably built up enough momentum, and with Skubal pitching, that momentum will carry over. Well, there is momentum, but there isn't. One or the other. I do believe momentum means a lot. And the other funny thing on a separate note, before the show, he said, well, we can talk about some individual NFL players like Stephon Diggs and Tyrell Hill. And so I bring up Diggs in the context of going back to Buffalo and that's playing. When I bring it up, what did he say, Rick? He says, I'm tired of talking about Stephon Diggs. Jack, I love you to death. I told him that afterwards. I mean, you're the best. It does look actually very good that you brought that up, Carlos, because that had slipped my mind. It looks very much like Albert Pujols may be the manager of the Angels. There was a lot of chatter, if you followed it this summer, that St. Louis was a place that Pujols wanted to manage, but they're not going to fire Marmol, so there's no job there. So, anyway, not a lot of experience. He might have managed in the winter leagues last year, but, you know, I mean, hiring guys without experience is something that's not unusual today. Yankees did it with Aaron Boone, but we know how I feel that's worked out. Listen, I'm the first guy to admit I'm spoiled. That I think the Yankees should be better than, you know, one World Series loss since 2009. And that falls on the front office and Aaron Boone. Sorry. I mean, Jack talked about this morning that, you know, the Jazz situation might have been, you know, an edict from above. Because Rosario is 6 for 9 against Crochet. Well, that's not, you know, that's a very small sample size. So, I'm all right with Mendoza staying as well. Again, to me, Stern's more at fault for this team that's a bit flawed, and the pitching staff is well below, you know, a competitive major league team level in my mind. That's not, I think Carlos Mendoza has done a great job there for 2 years. He didn't spend all that money on the wrong players. And Juan Soto's in a great place. If he wants to play golf in October, he's a Met, too, so he'll be good. There's AC Knight. Speaking of playing golf, in October, the Red Sox got their tee times for this weekend. Sorry, Carlos. Sorry, not Carlos, but AC, your team played. They were game, but they played horrible defense. I mean, the defense let that kid early down last night. He was as good as Cam was during the first time around through the order. The second time around, the Yankees kind of figured him out a little bit, but the defense let him down as well. Their first baseman's terrible. Just some bad. I think in all three games you could point to bad defensive play, bad fundamental baseball by the Red Sox. I'm usually talking about the Yankees when I talk about this, right? A little weak. I've been losing weight. Probably can't tell. It's like a deck chair blowing off the Titanic, but I've lost like 14 pounds now, and I got a ways to go. Feel good, though. Feel good. Played golf yesterday. Can't tell because of the lights, but I still got a little color in the middle of October. Well, not middle of October. No, he is not the issue. Quite frankly, Steve Cohen might be the biggest issue they have. They got a lot of money tied up in Juan Soto, who had he's a good hitter. We know he's a good hitter. Surprised me with his steals this year. I'm not a huge fan of Juan Soto, as we know from his days for the Yankees. Hello, Matt. How are you? Matt, a Yankee fan out there in San Diego. Let's go Yankees. Got the Blue Jays up next. This is a team the Yankees struggled with this year a bit. Played them a little better later in the season. And the Blue Jays stopped doing what they do well, which is put pressure on other teams. They put the ball in play better than anyone in baseball. Almost 82% of the time, they put the ball in play. That's well ahead of anybody else, or most everybody else. Brewers play a little bit of the same way. But, you don't give up an extra 5 or 6 outs a game like the Yankees do, let's say, or some other teams by striking out 11, 12 times a game. You strike out 5 or 6 times. Now you put pressure on the defense that other 5 or 6 times a game. I love the way the Blue Jays have played, specifically against the Yankees. Getting, oh gosh. Who's the pitcher they got from, I'm having a brain fart here. Bear with me a second. Good God, how come I can't remember who the hell I'm talking about here? As soon as I say it, it's going to hit me. I want to say Corey Kluber. I know it's not him. Wrong guy. Wrong team, guys. I'm on the Yankees. Who's the pitcher they picked up from the Indians? Help me out. The Indians gave up, by the way, and they could have used I'll get there. Bear with me. Shane Bieber. Jesus. I can't remember that. Great pickup. That might be and depending how the series goes, Shane Bieber could be the pickup of the deadline. Indians could have used him against the Tigers. But I like the Yankees to get. I like the fact that the Yankees found a way to win these games, scoring just 9 runs in 3 games, 2 home runs. I have been all over them and berated them for months, maybe years, I guess, for not being able to score without hitting home runs. Guess what happens? Look at what they did last night. Bellinger kind of ignited a rally with that blue pit. Base hits. Jazz had a big base hit. And by the way, another reason you can't have Jazz on the bench is defense. He saved a run. He saved a run in game 2 with a tremendous play. Didn't get the guy at first, but he kept the run from scoring. In fact, if I were him, I would have eaten the ball and not taken a chance on throwing it away. He's a tremendous defensive player. So if you want to get Rosario in there against lefties, fine. And I'm not sure that you're going to get any left-handed starters out of the Blue Jays. Gausman's going to pitch game 1. Probably Bieber. I would say, I'm sure it'll be Gausman, Bieber, Scherzer. And then I don't know. That's something different for us, isn't it? With signings this past year. So listen, this is the problem with, and why baseball players or teams, I guess, in general, the ownership says they want a hard cap, but do they? When you keep signing guys to, $75 million a year contracts? Here we're going to disagree. I'm not the biggest Pete Alonso fan. He doesn't play good defense. He hits home runs, and that's about it. He's Dave Kingman. He had a good year this year. I don't think he's going to get offered any more than he got offered last offseason, though, because he's going to opt out. He's going to opt out. So I don't see where that's going to happen. Unless he capitulates again like he did last year. But if he wants a long-term contract for more than $25 million a year, he's probably going to have to go elsewhere to get it. AC, good game last night. I think it was this was a pretty good series. Other than, I think the Red Sox defense was the worst part of the series, quite frankly. And usually I'm saying that about the Yankees base running or, situational hitting. They hit well in situational, important situations last night. They took advantage of what was in front of them. Still think the Sox are the team of the future? I wouldn't say the team of the future. I may say, maybe you can say a team. They've got some good young players. I think they need to fill up that pitching staff with a little bit more quality. I liked Early last night. And I hadn't seen him pitch up close until last night. He had really good stuff. And he looked like he was throwing harder than what he was. I mean, Cam was getting it up there 101. I think he had 102 once. Early was getting it up there in the mid-90s best. But it looked just as fast as Cam because he was changing speeds very well. I like him a lot. So anyway, the Sox make a few moves, get a top of the rotation right-hand pitcher. They'll be the best team. They'll be the best team for the next 10 years. Come on. First of all, nobody's going to dominate for 10 years. Now, I don't think you're saying they're going to win 10 World Series because the best team doesn't always win the World Series. You can say they'll be competitive for the next 10 years. I can't pick out any one team in baseball, including the Dodgers, and say they're going to be the best team in baseball for the next 10 years. If you want to see they'll be competitive and compete for playoff spots and championships for 10 years, that's fair. But it's a little bit of hyperbole there, buddy. The headphones look bigger now. My head is shrinking. I can see the difference. My shoulders have shrunk. In fact, I was trying on, before we go away next month, I was trying on a couple of sport coats and suit, and they actually fit me better than they did when I was on a cruise in February. So, in fact, one of them, the shoulders are too big. So, and I got a month before we go, and I'd like to be smaller yet. The game was incredible. I know you're in Orange County, buddy, and we like our Yankee fans out there in Dodger land because it can't be Angel land out there where you are. I mean, good grief. Who's rooting for the Angels? I mean, I'm sorry. And I know Ron Washington said, he was towing the party line, but I think it's classless that the Angels fire, Ron Washington, I don't know, 2 days after the season ended or whatever, 3 days after the season ended. I know you got to go out and find a manager, and if they want Pujols, they didn't want to take a chance on the Cardinals hiring him. And I feel bad. Ron Washington is a really good baseball man, as is Bud Black. as is Bochy, as is why am I having trouble with these? All these guys whose names start with SH, I have trouble with. I don't know why. Let me look at his name one more time. I never get his name right. Just Schnitker. I did say it right the first time. Brad Schnitker. He's got 40 plus years, like 45 or 48 years with the Braves. Last 9 or 10 managing, I guess 10 when you count the interim spot that he had. Got him a championship, was in the playoffs for the past 7 or 8 years before this year. Tremendous job he did there in Atlanta. And it's sad to see him go, as well as Bochy, but the time passes. And they're not getting another job. I don't think baseball's hired 69 and 70-year-old managers anymore. The White Sox tried that with Tony La Russa. It didn't work. The Rangers hired a 67-ish-year-old Bochy a couple years ago, got him a championship. But I don't know. The only issue is Pete is how to reorganize, set up a good contract. That and his strikeouts and his horrible defensive play. I mean, other than that, yeah. I mean, I'm not giving that guy more than $25 million a year. He's a one-trick pony. I mean, numbers aren't everything. I understand. But let me just take a quick look at Alonso's numbers real quick. And we're going to have all winter well, not all winter, but we're going to have a lot of the winter to talk about this. So he hit 272, which is probably one of his best years. And his OPS was pretty good. And he had 41 doubles. Maybe I'm being too hard on him. But that's like his best. This is one of his best seasons. I mean, his first season was probably his best as a Met, right? 53 homers, 120 RBIs. But when I look at it after that, 231, 262, 271, 217, 240, 272. I don't think I can expect 272 out of him again next year. Not when he had 217 and 240 the 2 seasons before that. Again, you want to bring him back, and he wants to come back on a team-friendly contract. And I'm not a Met fan, so I could care less as long as he doesn't come across town. Ben Rice needs to play there every day next year. You're not going to see Goldschmidt back. AC thinks it'll be the Yankees and the Cubs. Listen, I like the Yankees against the Blue Jays, and I think the Mariners really quick. And we'll talk about any of these that you want to. I think the Mariners will beat the Tigers. I think they'll lose the 2 games if he gets to pitch 2 games. Well, actually, if he pitches game 5, that'd be wrong. I couldn't say that. I think they'll lose to Skubal in game 1, and I think they come back and win in 4 games or maybe 5. They've got a great starting staff in Seattle. I think their lineup is deeper than Detroit's. And I don't know that this one series against a team who can't score runs in the Indians is really snapping the Tigers out of their second half doldrums. So I like the Yankees against the Mariners, and it's going to be a battle if the Yankees and Mariners play. That staff scares me a lot. The Mariners scare me a lot. They've never been to a World Series. I think they're the only team in baseball that's never been to a World Series. Is that correct? I think I went through this a couple weeks ago, didn't I? I think they're their only team. Yes. Well, not as I guess the Guardians have it, if you want to be technical about it. Mariners, they've been. I think I did this. Brewers have been. Everybody's been to a World Series, including the Rockies, but not the Mariners. Nice storyline. And you like the Cubs. The Cubs could get hot. I still like the Dodgers, AC, myself. Pitching staff is tough. When you're going to have Ohtani and Yamamoto followed by whoever they follow him with, probably Glasnow. Plus, you got. It'll be interesting to see if they put Kershaw on the roster here. I don't know if they want to pitch him out of the bullpen or not. My gut says that if he's not going to start, he may not be on the roster, which would be a shame. But I think they're getting healthy, and I think they're getting their mojo back at the right time. They're still the best team in baseball. They dismantled the Reds. It's not a good baseball team, the Reds. Young, could have gotten hot, I thought, and sparked a little something there, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. But listen, to me, it's wide open. Now the tractor won't try to pull you off the beach on the next cruise. We got a ways to go. I want to lose a bunch more. I was just... It was getting too. I just like food, man. I'm a foodie. But I walk every day. If I play golf, I don't walk because I walk a bunch. But it's been good. We got to get together for lunch or something, Rick. Let me know your schedule. We'll find someplace to hook up for lunch. If you're up to it. Haven't seen you in forever. I'd love to do that. Bello let Sox Nation down. Did you think that... let's see. Let me get to that box score. I mean, did you think... I guess he got pulled in the fourth inning, right? Oh, I'm sorry, Bello. I'm glad to go one game back. Sorry. It's not Bello, is it? Probably. I know I'm saying his. I just realized I'm saying his name wrong. Wednesday. He got pulled really early. Were they? And I'm not so he only gave up a couple of runs. I mean, there've been some quick hooks here. He's thrown 28 pitches. 28 pitches. Gave up a couple of runs. Managers don't if he's supposed to be one of your best pitchers, you have to let him pitch out of a jam, right? I saw it with Casey and I get it. You know, these are series where you can't just wait forever, but depending on the level of pitcher that we're talking about, you got to give him a chance to pitch out of it here and there. AJ Hinch, I mean, these look like game 1 and 2 look like bullpen games. Certainly game 2. The Indians and Tigers both pulled their pitchers in the third inning. And that was theoretically, I would say that's, the number 2 in Mize. I wasn't even happy. Jack and I disagreed on this morning. In game 1, the only really, I got 2 bones to pick with Boone. I got the lineup decisions in game 1. Pulling Fried when he did, I thought was not necessary. He'd given up 4 hits. He was getting a little bit more wild, but not to the point where I need to get him out of the game, I don't think. Weaver implodes. Weaver's been the most reliable reliever the Yankees have had all year, but still. I just don't think that was a smart move there. He's your ace, and your ace needs to go longer. Crochet pitched into the 8th inning. 100 pitches is not a lot for your ace. If it is, going wrong. Hello, Chris F. Grave. It'd be interesting to have an old school coach who goes against the grain of modern analytics. Preach it to the choir, my friend. I want to reinvent Billy Martin. Billy was the guy who managed by his gut and kept the other team on their toes, kept them on their heels, I should say. Not on their toes, on their heels. A lot of people say Earl Weaver. Earl Weaver was the start of analytics. People don't even realize it. Earl was a great manager, don't get me wrong. But Earl didn't play small ball. Earl was the first guy to really, not the first guy, but one of the big guys to put in all these analytics about every one of his hitters and pitchers. Billy Martin. We need a Billy Martin. Take this stupid rule, which we don't have in the playoffs, thank God, of a man on second base to start the 10th inning, and exploit it by bunting him to third. God, there's a real revelation. We should bunt the guy to third with one and have one out. And then bunt him in, then squeeze him in. You're on a weight loss journey as well, my friend. Good luck to you. It's amazing. You start to feel some energy. I don't kill myself, right? I watch my portions. I do Noom, but I walk I walk 1 or 2 miles every single day. It's not a ton, doesn't kill me. I got a rowing machine down here, which is a stand-up row. I don't know what else to call it, right? You kind of sit on it like a bicycle, but it doesn't pedal. You just kind of pull and you crunch, and it's kind of rowing, I guess, is the only thing I can really say. And every time I come down here to my office or whatever, I get on and I do 10 or 15 reps. So I do that 3 or 4 times a day. That little bit makes such a difference. I sleep better. McMahon's catch was great last night. Jack was... Listen, opposing teams don't try to help you. They just don't. Now, once he made the catch, a couple of guys tried to grab his legs as he was flipping over. So kudos to them. But Yankees would have done the same thing. Hello, Michael Gott over in the UK. How are you, my friend? What's the UK take on these series that have just ended and the series we got coming up? We got Yankees, Blue Jays. I like the Yankees. Mariners, Tigers. Love the Tigers. LA Philly is going to be, I think LA Philly and the Yankees and Blue Jays might be the closest series of all. But I like LA. Philly's got some outfield defense problems. Wheeler being out hurts them, although they've got 3 strong starters to throw out there. Not sure about their bullpen. And the Cubs and Brewers, Brewers history, and I get it. Doesn't matter. What happened yesterday? Michael Dighton Edwards and I talk about this a bit on a recent show. History shouldn't matter, but it seems to keep mattering to the Brewers because they can't get past the first round of playoff. But I like the Cubs. So I got Yankees, Mariners, LA, and the Cubs. Slightly off topic, but baseball question. What makes a setup pitcher? What indicates he's perfect for the role through firstly his stats and then his skills? So I don't know if it's so much. Well, usually the setup guy is going to be the guy who would be the closer if the closer wasn't there, right? So most of these guys want relief pitchers who are going to go out and throw as hard as they can for as long as they can and strike guys out. Classically, setup pitchers would be a little bit different. In fact, they wouldn't even have used them. Relief pitchers basically set themselves up. But most teams now, Michael, the setup man is really from the 6th inning on. You got a 6th inning guy, you got a 7th inning guy, you got an 8th inning guy, you got a 9th inning guy. Now, they might push their closer now to maybe go 2 innings. I'd be shocked if too many of these teams do that in this postseason. Maybe get 4 outs. But one of the really big things that ticks me off about the way they handle pitchers is not just the way they handle starters. It's the way these managers handle their bullpen. Because if it says here that player A is my 7th inning guy, and maybe he gets out in 3 innings or three pitches, right? 3 ground balls. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if he was dominating in his inning. He can't pitch the 8th inning because it's not his job. I got to get my 8th inning guy in there, and then the guy blows up. You see it with the Yankees. I mean, Weaver's been moved to that first guy out of the bullpen. Might better, and Bednar's pitched pretty well the last month. Williams is somebody who knows what's going to happen when he gets in there, but The stats I don't think really matter. I think you want guys that are not going to walk guys, control guys, right? You don't want a bunch of base runners on base when you're protecting a lead, especially a small one in the playoffs. So skill set, I would say, good control, can miss bats. So again, I think it's hard today because again, the way they try to script these games out and the pitching formulas, particularly, it's very hard to kind of put your finger on. And a lot of guys are moving it around. It's a moving target. They may be matchups is another thing that really matters with the setup guys depending on the manager. A lot of managers are pitching matchups in these late inning games, which becomes harder. Again, when you put a silly rule in, like he's got to pitch to 3 guys. Well, you can't necessarily have a left-handed specialist who's only going to pitch to the one left-handed batter that you don't want to beat you late in the game when he's then got to pitch to 2 right-handed batters who are going to beat the snot out of him. Another rule I hate, and it's not one I've talked about a lot. But I understand we need to speed the game up, and it has the pitch clock and having to pitch to 3 batters, but it kills the strategy of baseball, and there are other ways to speed up the game, like enforcing the rules that were already there. In the upcoming series, anytime Max Fried pitches against Davis Schneider, the German national anthem should get a short play. I'm fine with that. Get your flags out, Germany. Chris, I love you, brother. You're the best. Looking forward to the Tiger prospects, Keith. I think they've got something. And one team I'm watching closely. I was very high on the Tigers right up till about the All-Star break. And something didn't click after that. Maybe they've got their mojo back with this victory over the Indians, who kind of had their number the second half of the season. But I really think they're going to struggle with the Mariners. Jack likes the Tigers a lot, which is odd because he doesn't believe in momentum. So he didn't like the Indians coming into this series. He liked the Tigers to be able to rebound and get their mojo back, which I get. It's fair. But now he likes the Tigers because of momentum and Scoble being able to pitch. I don't know if Scoble can pitch game 1 or not. I wish Brian were with us today. They don't have a pitcher schedule. Let's see who's pitching. There's only a couple pitchers scheduled so far, and it's really mostly the teams that were on a bye, which is easy. Detroit and Seattle have not announced their pitchers. Dodgers, Ohtani and against Sanchez. Yankees are undecided yet. I believe it's going to be Heel though in game 1 and Fried in game 2 most likely against Kevin Gausman. And Chicago's undecided against Freddie Peralta. And then, of course, no game 2 matchups yet. But listen, I like the Tigers. But they all started running the bases like Gleyber Torres in the second half. Baez went from an all-star to least valuable player in baseball. He had a pretty good series against the Indians, so maybe he can carry that over. Yeah, he had a horrific second half. I don't know if he hit 200. He had 1 home run, I think, after the All-Star break. I like the Mariners a lot. I just like that pitching staff. Let me get to so they're going to throw most likely. So they had a bye. It's probably going to be Castillo, Kirby, maybe Gilbert in game 4 and game 3 and Wu in game 4. They could flip-flop that. Wu's been banged up, so we'll see if he's healthy. You got Bryce Miller that you can send to the bullpen. I like this team a lot. I love their closer. And I like this lineup. And if Cal Raleigh produces anywhere near like he did in the regular season, well, suddenly you've got some magic there, don't you? I don't know. We'll see. Good storyline. With the power of the internet radio access now, that'd be me. It's fun to check in on the opposition's view of your own city's team. Yeah. Well, I have some of that, with some of the guys that I do some roundtable stuff with. So I do get a bit of that. I don't have a Blue Jays, anybody that is a Blue Jay fan like yourself, Chris. Oh, I'm sorry. I outed you as a Yankee fan, didn't I? Sorry. I hope you're still. Do you have to hide up there like Bartman in Chicago? I'm kidding. Mariners fans, we got Bo Crouch, who's a big Seattle. He's up in Seattle. He's a Seattle fan, so we get that perspective. We've got LA fans here and Danny. I got Philly fans with Pags on National Streaming Sports. No real Cubbies or Brewers fans. I want to root for the Brewers, but I just feel like the Cubs are better, and getting by the Padres gives them a little boost. Kyle Tucker is going to get a little healthier every day. And I think they have enough pitching. I like the Brewers. Another team that I think puts the ball in play and puts some pressure on the defenses. So gonna be a lot of exciting. So these games, by the way, this is tremendous. Now we get to the LDS, the 2 LDS series or 4 LDS series. College football tomorrow, big matchups, some big matchups. The NFL, the card isn't tremendous, but it's an exciting time, man. If you like sports, I got to have 5 TVs going at once. I'm going over to see my granddaughter, my new granddaughter, and my older granddaughter tonight. I'm going to take pizza and stuff over in a little after the show, and so because I'm tied up all weekend. Tomorrow's actually all 4 games are played tomorrow. I was thinking there was a game. I guess 2 of them will be off on Sunday, probably, right? Yeah, the game 2s will get broken up. But you got wall-to-wall baseball again tomorrow. 2:00 Chicago at Milwaukee. 4:00 Yankees at Toronto. Sweet. I can watch the Yankees and I get to watch the Hurricanes. Dodgers at Philadelphia. Detroit at Seattle at 8:30. And I haven't had to stay up until 1:00 in the morning watching these Boston Yankee games. So maybe I should be happy about the pitch clock. I don't. Front runner fan here in the UK. Well, I don't think the Tigers is a front runner pick, Michael. I mean, if you had to pick all these teams, in fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, if I can find it. Here's the odds to win the World Series. The odds of it advancing, okay? Yankees have a 47.4%. This is by ESPN. 47.4 chance of it advancing. Oh, that's the Blue Jays. Sorry. What am I doing here? That's the Blue Jays. The Mariners have a 51.6 chance of it advancing. The Yankees have a 52.6 chance of advancing. How the Blue Jays? Oh, they're favored. That's why. Okay, I get it. Tigers, 48.4%. I'm surprised it's that high, quite frankly. Milwaukee, 56. Philadelphia, 49. They're calling these pretty close. Dodgers, 50. Phillies are favored. Cubbies, 43. So they like the Brewers over the Cubbies. So not a huge advantage by however they did this percentages. everyone should keep the Mariners in their back pocket to win. Frickin' 48 frickin' years. Go Hems. Winning for Alvin Davis. I think you brought him up a couple weeks ago, didn't you? Alvin Davis was a really, really good player for you guys not old enough to remember. Played first base for Seattle, and I want to say he went down and played for the Angels for a little bit too, if I'm not mistaken, Chris. Am I right there or wrong? Hold on. Alvin Davis. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? 1 year with California. 118 plate appearances. That's still a win for me. You know, very interesting too. If we get a Yankees Mariners matchup, the votes are, I mean, the MVP is only based on the regular season. That's it. Cal Raleigh against Judge. It's going to be very interesting to watch that series and these two guys, and it won't have any bearing on who wins the MVP, but it could have a great bearing on who wins that series and which one of these guys steps up. Cal Raleigh getting his first real playoff experience. Judge has been there, and Judge, quite frankly, still has something to prove in the postseason. So Stanton's got to pick it up behind him. It's important for those guys behind Judge to come through. We already got that. What else? Any other news? Looking at the managers again, are we surprised at anything, any changes that were made? I'm not surprised at Schnitker. I kind of alluded to it the last couple of weeks, and even as the season started to wind down. He will stay with the organization in an advisory role. The same with Bruce Bochy. He and the team decided not to continue the relationship. The way I heard it was he had a meeting with Chris Young, and he asked, are you going to spend some money to bring some offense in here? And he said, Bruce, we've got a budget we have to stick to. I told you DeGrom would cost the Rangers, didn't I? So Bochy decided to move on, and I think he's done managing at 70 years old. There was some chatter about him going back to the Giants, and Buster Posey quickly put a pin in that and said, we'd love to have Bruce as part of the organization, but he will not be the field manager. The Giants, Bob Melvin's a really good manager, just wasn't a good fit for whatever reason. Struggled in San Diego for a lot of the time there. Didn't win in the playoffs for sure. Did a great job with the A's before that, but two disappointing seasons. I think 80 and 82 and 82 and 80 maybe. Rocco Baldelli, not shocking. He's been on a hot seat for a while. I think when I was asked last week on the Unprofessional Professional Sports Show, or maybe it was Sunday morning. No, it had to be that show because we only talk football now on Sundays. Who did I think would be the first guy fired? Monday, I said Rocco Baldelli. The Angels kind of classically part with Ron Washington and their interim manager, Ray Montgomery. The Orioles had fired Brandon Hyde during the midseason. I don't think Tony Manzolino, although the team played better in the second half with him. I don't know that he's in the running for this full-time job. Same with Warren Schaefer, who took over for Bud Black. I doubt he'll get the job there in Colorado. And listen, if anybody out here wants to be a major league manager, go to Colorado, because I think they're going to have a hard time filling this job. The Nationals, I'd like to see them consider Miguel Cairo, and I didn't play badly, I don't think, under Miguel Cairo. He replaced Dave Martinez mid-season, but they've got a new president of baseball operations, and he'll probably want his own guy. Derek Shelton, he was fired as well, interim manager. Don Kelly, has been given. There's a spot filled. So he has been given the job for 2026. So this was pretty active. This is 9 spots. Got to be pretty close to the record, I would say, for turnover in a single season. Chris talking about J-Rod. He's shown tremendous maturity for a young man in his playoff appearances. I agree. Mariners have not had great playoff success in recent years, but I like J-Rod's game, and I think he's going to get better. I think people think he's peaked, but they got to remember, he's just a kid. He's just a kid, and I mean, I think they expect him to be, Ken Griffey Jr. every single year, and I still think he needs to mature as a player. He's still, what is he? He's only 24 years old. A lot of time for him to mature as a player, and he's pretty darn good right now. And what people are going to call an off season for him, he had 32 homers and 95 RBIs, 30 stolen bases, 798 OPS. He's better than that. I think his second year really set people up to think, and his first 2 years really, I think he's still going to be a really good player. And this is where guys make their mark, right? And they make themselves whether you become a household name or not, kind of depends on how you do in the postseason. Sorry, I got to do something here real quick. So keep talking. What else you got here? Angels are a sad organization. Good luck to Washington for his health. I agree. Washington is a class guy. I think really I was unhappy for him when he took this job, quite frankly. All right, that's done. So anyway, and by the way, maybe Mike Trout needs to get out of there. I like to see legacy players, as Jack Hirsch likes to call them, guys who play their entire career in one place. But we just don't see that anymore. As a rule, there's going to be a handful of guys. And Mike Trout likely wants to play his entire career in California. If he does so, he's probably not going to get a World Series championship or maybe even reach the playoffs again the way this goes. A manager change and a coaching revamp would do wonders for the Angels. It's the front office, though. It's the ownership that's a problem there, I think, Chris. It was home run mania in Anaheim, but the strikeouts were through the roof. You're going to see an entire new staff there. And I'm not willing to lay this all on Ron Washington. He was dealt a horrible hand, and he must have really badly wanted to manage one more time. I don't think you'll see Ron Washington take another managerial job, but you'll see him in a dugout next year, I guarantee you. So you're going to see a whole new staff, and if it's Albert Pujols, get yourself a really strong bench coach, Albert, because you're going to need it. You're going to need to learn on the job. And it's not, you got a bad baseball team and a manager learning on the job may not be a great situation. The flip side of it is maybe that swagger that Albert Pujols carries with him rubs off on the players and they play better or play above their potential. Or maybe the front office and the owner decides to spend money and they spend it on the right people, not the Anthony Rondones of the world. Oh, lots of pressure on the Yanks, Michael. Any pressure on the Yanks to make the World Series, to win the ALCS? Yeah. Listen, there's always pressure in New York from guys like me. We're all spoiled here, Michael, and I'm the first to admit it. One World Series appearance. They won a World Series in 2009. By my math, that's 16 years ago. They've been to one World Series since and lost. But They have been to, in the last 22 years, 3 World Series with a 1 win. The Royals have a win and 2 World Series appearances. That's what the Yankees have, 2 World Series appearances in 22 years. The Giants won 3 World Series in that time. That's more acceptable to me than the Royals winning or as many World Series as me. There's always pressure. I think Aaron Boone, Cashman has pictures of somebody. Cashman's going to keep his job. Boone's done a good job. If all you care about is winning 90, 95 games, 100 here and there, and, not hitting in the playoffs and going out in the LDS or the championship series, he would have got fired, I'm certain, if they hadn't won this series against Boston. Pressure's off him a little bit, but Aaron Boone needs to make the right decisions, and the right decisions do not include benching 2 of your best players. I would argue the second and third best players on the team as we speak in any games against the Blue Jays, and make the right moves with your starters and your relievers. If a guy's pitching, pitching well, a starter's pitching well, do not yank him just because your freaking script says you should do that. So, yeah, because as you can tell, there's a lot of pressure on everybody, including fans. DeMauro Hale and Sandy Almost Jr., 2 of the top assistant managers in the bigs. And these are the guys who are getting hired now, by the way. Guys like, maybe these 2 guys, not in specifically, but guys with their type of demographic. They're young. They understand the way baseball is unfortunately played today in the analytic era. And you're not going to be hiring dinosaurs like Bruce Bochy and Snitker or me. Excellent job today, guys. What else before I wrap it up? You guys got anything else? I've given you my predictions. When we're back next Friday, we'll be well along in these series, and we'll have an idea. I don't know, will they be wrapped up by next week or not? How far can these stand? How far can these go? Tuesday. Oh, how come you don't give me the games? Game numbers. Oh, game 4. So game 4 would be Tuesday. Thursday, we got game 4 is scheduled and a game 5. So come Friday, Yankees could have game 5. Chicago could have game 5 on Friday next week. So we could be looking at 2. We either know who's in the ALCS next Friday, or we will know 2 of them, and there'll be decisive game 5 on Friday night. Exciting times. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Keith Engle for TGI Sports Talks MLB update. Great to have you all with us. I'll be back with you Sunday with the Stream of Consciousness, the Sunday Stream of Consciousness. Join us then at 9 a.m. Eastern. And hold on, leave us on a hot dog note. Regional taste, ketchup on a hot dog? No, mustard, some relish, maybe meat sauce, depending on where I am in my mood. If you put ketchup on a hot dog, you really need to rethink, whether you should be here. We might start deporting people, I think, that put ketchup on hot dogs. I'm just saying. See you later, Michael. Good to have you with us. Check in Sunday morning again. Sunday Stream of Consciousness, 9 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be a day early and maybe an hour early with the College Football Huddle next week, because on Wednesday I've got an HOA meeting I have to attend. and we'll go from there. But we'll see you guys. Have a great baseball and football weekend. We'll see you Sunday morning on the big football show, and then we'll see you on the Sunday stream of consciousness. This is Keith Engle. We're out. Thank you, Michael. Bye-bye.